Okay. Right. So we will start with uh, questionnaire designing, which is an important aspect of your research. In fact, I would say the most important aspect of the research, or most difficult aspect, important as well as difficult aspect of your research, is to prepare the questionnaire, especially when you are doing your research with the primary data. So if you want to do you can do research with the primary data or secondary data. And if you are doing your research with primary data, we have to collect the primary data, for which we have to use the questionnaire. And the reliability of the data, the truth of the data, depends upon the quality of the questionnaire. So that is why the questionnaire becomes very important. At the same time, it is not easy. It takes a lot of effort to prepare a good questionnaire. So first of all, we have to understand what is a questionnaire, how to prepare a questionnaire, and then you can start preparing the questionnaire and show it to other people, do a pilot study, and only after a lot of trial you can finalize your questionnaire. So today what we are trying to do is, we are trying to understand what is a questionnaire and what are the contents of the questionnaire. How do we prepare the contents of the questionnaire? So this is what we are trying to do. So I have a presentation. I go to the presentation. Yes, let me see. I'll switch off my video and go to the presentation. Yeah, can you see the slide?
Yes, sir.
Is it moving?
Yes, yes.
Right. Okay. So our slide title is questionnaire. First of all, we have to understand that it is a research tool. We have to collect data, for which we require a tool. So the research tool that we are going to use for collecting primary data is the questionnaire. So it is the tool for primary data collection. That means the data collected from the respondents, the people who are involved with our research study. We call them respondents, you know that. The quality of the research depends upon the reliability and validity of the tool. Two words: reliability, validity. At the end of the session, we will explain what is the meaning of reliability, what is the meaning of validity. So the questionnaire should be reliable, should be valid. Only then you will get the correct data for our research, because you will get any kind of data and you can analyze the data, but that will not give you the result that we are expecting. So we have a research problem. We need the correct data, the true data, correct data, reliable data. So the quality of the data is very important. And if you want to get the high quality data, the correct data, the questionnaire should be correctly designed. So that is the importance of the questionnaire. So we are in this session, we are trying to understand how to prepare a good questionnaire. That is the purpose of the session. Now, let me start with an example. There was a survey by a prominent Indian newspaper I'm not giving the name of the newspaper. It was called the Best Cities Survey. So they were trying to find out, it was an all India survey. They were trying to find out which is the best city or best cities in different parts of India through a questionnaire. So we will see what they asked. One, there are many dimensions of the best cities. One aspect which they studied was the physical infrastructure of the city. And for that, to assess the physical infrastructure of the city, they asked a question. This was the question: how would you rate your city in comparison to other cities in India on these parameters? So read the question carefully. How would you rate your city in comparison to other city in India on these parameters? So they are going to give the parameters. There is a scale. The scale is very good, you give 5. If your city is very good compared to other cities, you give 5. Good, 4. Average, 3, and so on. So you have to give 5, 4, 3, 2, or 1 to your city, depending upon whether it is very good or good compared to other cities in India. Okay, this is the question. This is the parameter. First one: power, electricity situation in your city, water facilities in the city, public transport facilities in the city. I will hide this slide. So traffic situation in the city, bus service, other traffic situation, and the parking facilities in the city. So important infrastructure features. Now, try to answer this question. Try to answer this question. You take your city and try to give the 5 or 4 or 3 for each one. You have to give an answer. For electricity, for piped water facilities, public transport, traffic situation. So you have to give a number comparing to other cities in India. Okay. I'll ask you how you gave the numbers, right? Okay, are you ready? Okay, first one, what did you give? Power, electricity, one of you. Power, electricity situation. One of you can give the answer. Okay. Unmute your audio and give the answer.
It's related to our city.
How much did you give?
Average.
Oh, that is for 3. Okay, okay. But then a question comes, which is your city?
I'm for Kannur, Madai.
Okay, so you are comparing Kannur. To which city did you compare? That's the problem.
Okay, sir.
That's the problem.
Okay, yeah.
Understood. Say, for example, another piped water, next person. What have you given? Okay. One of you? We are just, I am trying to make you understand. The answer is not very important. The answer is not at all important. I am trying to make you understand a very particular problem with this questionnaire. Okay, one of you. Water facility. What have you given?
Very good, sir.
Which one?
Very good.
Very good. Okay, 5. So you are giving very good 5. So answer is right. Now the problem here is, which is your city? Kannur?
Yes, Kannur, Kannur.
Okay, so your city is Kannur. Now you are comparing it with another city, or you are supposed to compare it with other cities in India. That is the question. The problem is you may be comparing, supposing you are going to Mumbai, you will be comparing with Mumbai. Supposing the first person who answered, supposing he has gone to Chennai, he will be comparing with Chennai. Another person who has gone to Ernakulam, he will be comparing it with Ernakulam. So see, the comparison of each person will be definitely different. Will definitely be different, because each person will compare with the city that he has visited. The city he has visited, the best city that he has visited. So one person may compare it with all of you. Supposing all of you are from Kannur, okay, you are all comparing Kannur with. There comes the problem. A person who has visited Chennai will compare it with Chennai. Another person who has visited Mumbai will compare it with Mumbai. Another person who has visited Ernakulam will compare it with Ernakulam. So the answer given is a comparison with the different cities. So you see that the answer is useless. So this question, even though it was prepared by a very prominent newspaper, by the research wing, they have a research wing. We are all poor researchers. You are doing research on your own with the help of a guide. But this organization, this newspaper has a research wing. So with the research wing, they have prepared a questionnaire. This is one question. There are 10 or 12, 15 questions like this. All of them are wrong. See that? So this question is absolutely wrong. It does not give the correct data. It does not give the correct data. So all their questions are wrong. So the whole survey was useless. They published it in the newspaper in one full page. They gave all this. You can see it. All useless. Problem is very different.
Sir, your voice is breaking.
So we cannot hear properly. Hello, sir.
I will change to another place.
Okay, sir. Sir, are you speaking?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, okay.
I have moved to another place. That's why. One second. Okay, am I audible now? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll continue. So what I was trying to say was, see, this questionnaire will not give the correct answer because each person will be comparing with the different cities. So the answer that you are getting is different comparisons. So the correct question should have been, how would you rate your city in comparison with, say, take one city, Chennai, supposing for South India. Supposing you are conducting this in South India, say Chennai. How would you rate your city in comparison to Chennai in India on these parameters? And say only those who have visited Chennai, please answer the question. Then your answer is correct because everybody is comparing their city with one city, Chennai. So the answer is comparable, correct. Otherwise, the answer is wrong because each one is comparing with the different cities. So the answer which they are giving is absolutely useless for finding out which is the best city. So when you are comparing with one benchmark, so here, what is the benchmark here? That is the problem. So they gave a wrong benchmark. They gave different benchmarks. So they did not identify a proper benchmark. So this question went wrong. Answers is wrong. Result is wrong. Everything is wrong. The whole study is useless. Understood. So that is the problem with the questionnaire. So we have to be very, very careful while preparing the questionnaire to prepare the questionnaire in such a way that you will get the correct answer if the questions are correctly framed. So the framing of the questionnaire is an important aspect and perhaps the most difficult aspect of your research study. That is what we are coming to. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, right. So we are going to study. We are trying to understand how to prepare a good questionnaire. And then, so what I would suggest that you do not just confine yourself to one workshop on one session or questionnaire. Try to attend as many workshops on this questionnaire preparation because you'll get different dimensions, different aspects from different experts. So try to attend as many questionnaires, as many workshops on questionnaires as possible. It will be useful to you. So we have got, we are trying to understand questionnaire. There are 4 dimensions to the questionnaire. We will see the 4 dimensions. The first one is the context of the questionnaire. We are preparing the questionnaire for a particular purpose. There is a context why we are preparing the questionnaire. There's a reason why we are preparing the questionnaire. We have a study. We want to get data from a group of respondents, primary data. So that is the context of the study. So the respondents will determine the type of questionnaire that you are preparing. If your respondents are illiterate, do not understand much about these things, so your questionnaire has to be prepared in a different way. Supposing your questionnaire is your respondents are all educated people, then the questionnaire will be of a different type. So the context of the questionnaire, who are the respondents, that is the first important aspect that we have to consider. Secondly is the content of the questionnaire. In the questionnaire, there are a number of questions. So, and these questions deals with the variables of the study. We are dealing with a study. We are studying about some aspect. So what are the variables that we are studying? So these questions are related to the variables of the study. So the contents of the questionnaire will come from your literature survey and your theory. What is the theory of your study? From the theory, from the literature survey, we will be getting the variables that we are going to study. And based on the variables, the contents of the questionnaire will be prepared. So that is why I said it includes the variables and the measurement of the variables. Because these variables have to be measured. Supposing you are studying satisfaction. The satisfaction has to be measured. Satisfaction has to be measured. Customer satisfaction or job satisfaction of an employee. So that has to be measured. How to measure? So 2 aspects will be there. One is the variables. What are the variables? We are going to ask questions about the variables and then how to measure the variables. So we'll be studying in the second half of the session, we'll be studying about how to measure the variables. That is the content of the questionnaire. Third dimension of the questionnaire is the configuration. That is, how do we frame the questions? You can ask the same question in different ways. Supposing you want to ask a question about something, The question can be asked in different ways. That is known as the framing of the questionnaire. So it should be framed in such a way that the respondents understands the question and will be able to give the correct answer to the question. So the earlier case we saw, the framing of the question was wrong because the benchmark was not given. The benchmark was other cities. So see, the framing of the question was wrong. So that will definitely influence the data analysis because you cannot compare the data if the question is not correctly framed. And the last dimension of the questionnaire is the quality of the questionnaire. That is the reliability and validity of the questionnaire. The questionnaire, the data that we are going to collect from the questionnaire should be reliable, valid. That is the quality of the questionnaire. So when we are preparing a questionnaire, 4 things have to be attended to. One is the context, who are the respondents. Second is the content, what are we going to ask. Third is the configuration, how are we going to frame the questions. The last one is the questions, all the questions should be able to give you reliable and correct, valid data. Now, how do we do that? This is what we are going to study. So the context is easy. Context is easy. That is, the survey is, we are conducting a survey. The survey constitutes the principal source of primary data in a social science research. So ours is a social science research. We are collecting people from data from people. Social science means we are collecting data from people. So the people have to give the data. In physics, we are studying about objects. So there we are studying, looking, observing the objects. It's easy. Here we have to get data from the people. They have to cooperate. They have to give. Otherwise, we will not get data. So they are the source of the data. They are known as respondents. So we are trying to find out facts, fact-finding study. We are trying to find the facts from the people. It's a field study. From the people, we are going to collect the facts, and we collect a sample. That you are a researcher, so we don't study the population. We collect a sample of the population and study the sample, and we conduct a survey, and the survey will cover different aspects. Like these are the 5 aspects normally covered in a questionnaire. One is the demographic characteristics, that is the characteristics regarding those people. What is their gender? What is their income? Where do they live? What is their age? All those things. So demographic characteristics. So we are trying to understand the respondents. Secondly, social conditions. What are their social conditions? Where do they live? What are their social background? If it is relevant to the study. Then economic conditions, because most of this will be for any study, because we are studying people, social conditions, economic conditions of the people will be important. Economic conditions, so what is their income, what are their expenses, what are their savings, and how do they meet their loans, expenses, and so on and so on. So these are a few questions on these things. Our study comes to the last 2 points. The people's opinions and attitudes. Supposing you are studying about job satisfaction. So it is their opinion and attitude about job satisfaction. You are studying employees. So the employees are the respondents. So we ask them about their gender, age, and so on, their income, their salary, and so on, and where do they live, their house, housing conditions, etc. But most important aspect is their opinion about their job and the job satisfaction which they give. So that is their opinion or their attitude towards their job. Similarly, we may have to understand people's behavior, people's activities. So how do they perform their job? How do they behave in the organization? How do they interact with the other people, their colleagues or their superiors, their subordinates? What is their behavior pattern? What are their different activities in the job? What is their opinion about the environment, working environment? Are they satisfied? What is their opinion? What is their attitude towards the job? Are they positive? Are they negative? What is their attitude towards their subordinates or superiors? Is it positive or negative or neutral? So all these things are the real data that we require. But these data, the people have to give. It is not visible. It is not visible because we are not there observing what they are doing. We are just going and asking them about what they're doing. There is another kind of study called observation study. You can be there and observe how they behave if you are there for 2, 3, 4, 5 days or 1 week. Normally, we don't do that. So we don't actually see their behavior. We don't see their activities. We cannot see their opinions and attitudes, which is in their mind. So all these things are not visible to the person who is conducting the study. They are all invisible. It is in the mind of the person. They have to reveal these things to us. They have to reveal it to us. So through our questions, we have to get from them their opinion. So they may not give you the correct opinion because we don't know whether what they are saying is right. Is it the correct opinion? Is it the correct attitude? They are saying about their activities. Is it the correct activities? Is their answer correct? So here we have to get the correct answer. How do we do that? If you ask them directly about these things, they may not give you the correct answer because all this is hidden in their mind. So we cannot read their mind. So we have to get the correct data regarding their opinions, behaviors, and so on, using a technique, a different technique, and that technique we will see shortly. So that is the problem. So how to get the correct opinions and attitudes and behaviors and activities without seeing them? We are not seeing them. We are not reading their mind. But we want to get the correct answers. For that, we cannot take the direct approach, asking them directly, what is your opinion about your superiors? They will not give you the correct answer because they are afraid. We may reveal it to the superior. So even otherwise, naturally they would not like to give a direct answer. So there we are going to use a different kind of approach, an indirect approach to get the data. That is what we are going to study. Now, the questionnaire preparation involves a number of steps here. So let us briefly see the steps. First of all, what is the information that we need? In our study, what is the information that we need? We have to list out, before preparing the questionnaire, list out the different types of information that we require. Then convert those information into questions. The one information that we want is, supposing you is an HR study, you are conducting a study on HR. One information that you want is the satisfaction regarding the job. That's one information. Similarly, there are other information. So list out the information, then convert it into questions. These questions will not be direct questions because direct questions may not give you the right answer. So here we are going to use an indirect method. Then put the questions in order, in a logical order, because you have to get a lot of information, listing of information. There may be 5, 6, 7 informations. We want 6 different types of information. So we need 6 or 7 different types of questions maybe there. So we have to put them in order, a logical order, so that the respondents will be able to answer easily without strain. So this is called a funnel method. That is, the funnel starts with the broad head and comes to a narrow ending. So it's called a funnel method. And we start with general broad questions followed by narrow specific questions. So we start with what is the gender, what is your housing status, and so on. So then demographic general questions. Then we come to the specific questions regarding job satisfaction and so on. So this funnel method is used. Then we conduct a pilot study to find out whether this questionnaire is good. It's a pre-testing or a pilot study. And based on the pilot study, we make modifications on the questions, and final draft is prepared. And with that, we collect the data. So these are the steps involved in preparing the questionnaire. Okay, so we are moving to the question part, content. The first is the context, the respondents. The second dimension of the questionnaire is the content of the questionnaire. What are we going to ask? How are we going to ask that? This is what we are going to see now. The questionnaire is seeking information on different types of variables related to the study. So our study, we are studying different variables. One variable I gave you, job satisfaction. Another variable, if it is a marketing study, the variable may be customer satisfaction. So different variables. We are going to study about different variables related to the study. So this questionnaire will be asking questions on different variables. Now, the variables may be objective or subjective. So try to understand that. Objective means something which is related to the object which we can see, income of the person. There are records for that. Marital status, it is observable. Everybody knows it, whether a person is married or not. Gender, observable. So income, there are records. So for these are either there are records or they are visible. Easily you can determine this. They are objective. Then another type, the second type of variables are subjective. It belongs to the person's mind, feelings, attitudes, perceptions. So he may have feelings regarding something, he may have attitude towards something, he may have his own opinions, perceptions, opinions about some things. So those are subjective, they are not visible, they are hidden, they are in the mind of the person. So objective variables are visible, observable. Subjective variables are not visible, they are hidden, they are in the minds of the person. We need both these variables. Objective variables you can easily get because they will tell you. Subjective variables, they will tell you, but what they are telling you, the perceptions they are revealing, the attitudes that they are revealing, the feelings that they are sharing, are they the correct one or are they telling a lie? So directly, if you ask them, what is your attitude towards this? What is your feeling towards this? They may not give you the correct answer. So we are going to follow, for in the case of subjective variables, we are going to follow an indirect method of collecting data, which we will see shortly. For that, the subjective variables will have to be first defined. Say, job satisfaction. What is this job satisfaction? We have to define it. Then it has to be measured. Job satisfaction, customer satisfaction, all these things have to be measured. How much is it? Is it high? Is it low? We need to measure it, just like the height of a person. So the job satisfaction of a person has to be measured. The customer satisfaction of a person has to be measured. The attitude towards something has to be measured. Is it positive, highly positive, or is it negative, highly negative? So it has to be measured. So the subjective variables have to be defined and then measured. So this is the difficult part of the questionnaire preparation, which we are going to now understand. The objective part, you ask them, what is your income? You give us some range, say monthly income, 10,000 to 20,000, 20,000 to 30,000. So that is, they will tell you. And even if they are lying, we can find out from other records, marital status, gender, and so on. Where do they live? Their residential status, all those things, they cannot hide those things because they are all visible. Now, what is the operational definition of a variable? How, in a subjective variable, how do you operationally define a variable? We will see that first. Then we will go to the measurement side. So today's session has two parts. First is defining the operational definition of a variable. Second part is the measurement of the variable. So we are going to start with the first part. Now, a variable is a concept. That is something in our mind. It is a concept in the mind of a person. Say, job satisfaction is a concept. Normally, it is very broad. It may include many things. So usually a variable is a concept which is broad, including many things. Therefore, the different aspects of the concept, we will call them dimensions. So the concept is broad. It has many different subdivisions, aspects. We call them dimensions, D. And the dimensions are, in other words, the components, sub-themes of the concept. I'll give you an example after this, then you will understand it better. Now remember the three words are there. Understand the three words. The first word is concept, the broad definition. Second is the subdivision of the concept. We can divide the concept into dimensions or subdivisions, and each dimension again can be subdivided into further subdivisions called elements. So each dimension may be again subdivided into elements. These are the measurable aspects. We want to measure. Remember, I said the subjective variables have to be measured. So what are we going to measure? We are going to measure the elements. We are not going to measure the concepts. We are not going to measure the dimensions. We are going to measure the elements. And add the measurement of the elements, you will get the measurement of the dimension. Add the measurement of the dimensions, you will get the measurement of the concept. So we start from, like a matter is divided into atoms, again subcomponents are the electrons, neutrons, etc. In the same way, subjective variable will be subdivided into dimensions and elements. Elements will be measured, they will be added up, you will get the measurement of the dimension, and the measurements of the dimensions or the score of the dimensions will be added, and you will get the score of the concept. So that is how we proceed. Let us take an example, only then you can understand. So now remember the three words: concept, dimensions, elements. Okay, that's okay. Now let us take, graphically, see the concept will be divided into D1, D2, D3, etc. Here there are two dimensions. The first dimension again may be subdivided into E1, E2. The second dimension may be subdivided into one component only, E1. So this is the graphical representation of the operational definition of a concept. So before preparing the questionnaire, you have to understand what is your variable, and that variable has to be subdivided into dimensions and elements, and your questions will be related to the elements, and they will be measured also. And the total of the elements will be added up, and you will get the dimensions, and all the dimensions added up, you will get the concepts. So this is how we have to proceed. Okay. Usually in an offline class, I do have a demonstration. We will, in the class, we will prepare the dimensions and elements of the concept job satisfaction. So here, remember, what is your concept? Job satisfaction. That is a variable. We are studying, in a HR study, one of the variables that we are studying is job satisfaction. So it is a concept which is very broad. It includes many things. So those things can be subdivided into dimensions. The dimensions can again be subdivided into elements. How is it that we are going to see? Here we don't do a exercise here because it is an online class. I will show you so that you can slowly understand the concept of the concept, dimensions, and elements. Let us see. Job satisfaction. That is a concept. That concept has dimensions and elements. So we will take the first dimension. The first dimension is work. So job satisfaction means first, what is the work involved? Because job means some work is involved there. That is the dimension. That again is broad. That work has again different aspects. Different aspect. So job satisfaction, one aspect of job satisfaction is the satisfaction regarding the work. The word work itself has different subdivisions. It comprises of nature of the work. Read it carefully. Nature of the work, pressure of the work, ease of doing the work environment where you are sitting and doing the work. So all this is part of the common term called work. Work is a common term dimension. It has different elements. Nature of the work, pressure of the work. Is the organization giving you a pressure to complete the work on time and so on? Is it easy to do the work or is it difficult to do the work? What is the environment in which you are working? Is it comfortable? Is it very congested? Or so that all these aspects are the elements. So now you have an idea about what is meant by the concept subdivided into a dimension called work, again subdivided into elements called the nature of the work, and so on. Now, we are going to ask questions not about job satisfaction. We are not going to ask questions about work. We are going to ask questions about nature of the work, pressure of the work, ease of doing the work, and work environment. So that is the important point. So if you want to prepare a questionnaire, you have to divide your variable into dimensions and elements and then ask questions on the elements. Not only ask questions, measure the pressure of work, measure the easiness of doing work, measure the work environment. Is it good or bad? So it has to be measured. The nature of the work has to be measured. So the measurement has to be applied here. So here, this is where the questions have to be asked and measured. So this exercise of dividing the variable into dimensions and elements are important. It's the homework before starting the preparation of the questionnaire. Okay. Now we move on to the second dimension, because in the job satisfaction, your satisfaction regarding the job depends upon your satisfaction regarding the work. It depends upon the satisfaction regarding many other things. So all these things together is your job satisfaction. So your job satisfaction is the satisfaction regarding work, the satisfaction regarding your salary, monetary aspects, your satisfaction regarding your relationship with the superior, your relationship with superior. So many things are there. So many dimensions are there. We took one dimension, which is work. That again is subdivided into nature of work, pressure of work, etc. Second dimension is relationship with the superior. Relationship with the superior. So only if your relationship with the superior is good, you will be satisfied. So job satisfaction, second important dimension is your relationship with your superior. That again is subdivided into different elements. One, guidance received. Are you receiving proper guidance from your superior? Recognition. Are you getting recognition for the work you are doing? Supervision. Is your work being supervised properly? Comfort level of the relation. Are you comfortable with the superior, or are you afraid of the superior? Are you fearing the superior, or are you friendly with the superior? So that is the comfort level of the relation. Now I think you are understanding what is meant by concept, dimensions, elements. Our questions will be regarding, we don't ask a general question, what is your relationship with the superior? Is it good or bad? That is not how we are going to ask the question. We are going to ask the question regarding the guidance received from the superior, the recognition given by the superior, the supervision given by the superior. So our questions and the measurement of the answers will be relating to the elements, not the dimensions. All these together will give you the score for relation with the superior. This is how we proceed. I hope now you are getting the picture. Okay. Are you hearing me? Is there any problem with the sound?
Yes, sir. We are hearing you.
Okay, right. Okay, now we are moving to the third dimension, social status of your job. So every job has a social status. In society, we are doing the job in the society. So everybody sees that you are doing this job. Everybody knows in the society, everybody knows that you are having this job. You are a teacher or an officer or a manager, bank employee. So that it is known in society, and each job has a particular social status. Thus, that will also affect your job satisfaction. So what is the society's perception of your job, and what is your self-assessment of your status? So you see, so the self-assessment of your own assessment regarding your job, society, how does the society perceive your job? So that job has a social status. So that again gives you satisfaction. Um, some people would like to be working in banks. Some people would like to work in the education field. I was a person who worked in a bank. When I was studying BCom, I wanted to get a bank job, and therefore I wrote bank tests and got into Reserve Bank of India, and I worked there for 3 years. So that is a separate work performance environment. All these things are different. I thought I would like it, but I did not like it when I went there actually. 3 years I worked there, then I did not like it. Then I did my MCom as a private candidate and got the first rank in MCom. Then I changed over to teaching. I came to the university as a teacher. So I changed my job. See, so I have my own assessment of the job before getting into the bank job. After getting into the bank job, I had a different assessment. Then I came to the teaching. So we have our own self-assessment. Society looks at each job in a different way. So combined together, we have what is called a social status. Participation in decision making, very important. Dimension, participation in decision making. You are working. So do you have a role in participation in the decision making process? Do you have a role? So there, elements, read the elements there. You can see that. Participation in the decisions. Are you participating in the decision making? Now, you may not be participating, but then are the decisions communicated to you? Communication of the decisions. Now, communication of suggestions. Are you able to give suggestions? So all this will add to your satisfaction. If you are not participating in decisions, if you are not allowed to give any suggestions, if you are not the communication decisions are not communicated to you, naturally your job satisfaction will be less. But if you are doing all these things, your job satisfaction will be more. So that is a dimension. These are the elements. Now comes another very important dimension, monetary aspects. See, monetary aspects is a very important dimension because it has got different again subdivisions like salary, perquisites, promotion prospects. So all these are the elements. Now it must be very clear to you. So monetary aspect is a broad aspect, so it is known as a dimension. It has to be divided into salary, your perquisites, your leave facilities, your leave travel concessions, all those things. Then your promotion prospects and all those things. So grievance redressal, another dimension of job satisfaction. Supposing you have a grievance, can you redress that? What is the mechanism? Only then you will be satisfied. If there is no mechanism for redressing your grievance, you will not be satisfied. So is it available? Is it effective? Is it fair and just, that redressal system? So the availability, effectiveness, fairness, those are the elements of grievance redressal, which is a dimension of job satisfaction. Okay, now see the slide again. Look at the dimensions and elements. Work is a dimension, relation with the superior is a dimension, social status is a dimension, participation in decision making is a dimension, monetary aspect is a dimension, and grievance redressal is a dimension. Similarly, whatever variable you are studying, it will have dimensions and elements. You should be able to divide it into dimensions and elements. Then you may ask a question, how can we do that? I took an example which all of us understand, because this is a common, job satisfaction is a common concept, so we can understand. Supposing you are studying about something difficult, some difficult concepts, how do you understand the dimensions and elements? What are the dimensions and elements of your variable? For that, what we have to do is, you have to study the theory regarding your variables, your subject. So in fact, your research study, after your research study is approved, the first step is to understand the theory regarding your topic. So theoretical framework, you have to study, read the textbooks on your topic, whatever is your topic, study it very carefully, read different books, then you will understand. So that theoretical framework you have to understand. Only then you will understand your topic. So you have an approved topic, that doesn't mean anything. You have to study it carefully, read the theories regarding it, the different textbooks, then you will understand what are the variables, what are the dimensions of the variables, what are the elements of the variables, and you will be able to divide and prepare a table like this. Similarly, you have to read literature, past studies, literature survey, literature review. So read the previous studies. That is the second step. It is called literature survey, to prepare the literature review. There you will see past studies regarding your topic. There, in the past studies, people would have already understood and divided the concepts into variables and dimensions, so that you can understand. So by reading the past studies, again, you will understand very clearly what are the dimensions and elements of your variables. So 2 homework. 1, theoretical framework has to be studied. Review of literature has to be done. Then only you will understand your topic properly, and you will be able to divide, identify, first of all, identify your variables. Secondly, subdivide the variables into dimensions and elements. Only after that you can start preparing your questionnaire. So the preparation of the questionnaire comes somewhere in the middle of your research study. Okay, now we are going to understand once again. Now we are going to understand how to ask questions, or how to get the data through the indirect method. It's called constructs and items. So, constructs and items. The perceptions, attitudes, psychological traits are not directly observable. So you want the job satisfaction, you want the opinion, perception, attitude of people, psychological traits of people. So they are not, we want them, but they are not directly observable. We cannot observe and write down. So they are hidden. They are known as latent variables. Latent variables. and are sometimes called constructs. The technical term used is constructs. So the latent variables like job satisfaction, customer satisfaction, attitude towards something, or perception regarding something, they are known as constructs. Okay. Example. Perception of an employee regarding job satisfaction. So what is his perception regarding his job and its the satisfaction that he gets from the job? That is something which is hidden in his mind. Nobody else knows it. It is latent variable. It is a constructor. So how do we understand that? That is the question. Another example is the attitude of a consumer towards a product. A consumer has purchased a product, is using it, and he forms an attitude towards that product. What is that attitude? Is it positive, negative, neutral, highly positive, highly negative? So that is hidden in his mind. It's a psychological trait. It is not visible. It is a construct. Organizational commitment of an employee. An employee is working in an organization. What is his commitment to the organization? Is he fully committed to the organization, or is he just working there for the salary and not at all committed to the organization? So what is the extent? So all this have to be measured. So what is the attitude? Positive, negative, how much? It has to be measured. The organizational commitment of an employee has to be measured. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it high or low? So there must be a number. There must be a number. So the perceptions, attitudes, all these latent variables, even though they are hidden, they have to be measured and put into a number. This is our job. In questionnaire preparation, this is the challenge. How do we do that? That is what we are going to see. These latent variables are called constructs. Constructs and items, let us continue. These constructs are assessed and measured with the help of several statements, both positive and negative, regarding the different aspects of the construct. The construct is a hidden variable. It's actually the dimension. We have seen concept, dimension, and elements. So the construct is a dimension. The dimension is subdivided into elements. So regarding each element, we will give a statement. See, these constructs are assessed and measured with the help of several statements, positive statements, negative statements, regarding the elements there. We have subdivided the dimension into elements. Regarding the different aspects of the construct. The different aspects of the construct are the elements. So we are not asking them, in fact, we are not asking them any questions. Even though we call it a questionnaire, in this case, to measure, to understand the hidden, latent variables, we are not asking any questions. We are only giving some statements and asking them to agree or disagree with these statements. So no questions are asked. We are giving them some statements and asking them whether they agree with the statements or not agree with the statements. So we'll see when we take the example, you'll understand. So we are avoiding that direct questioning. Instead, we are following an indirect method of giving statements and asking them to agree or disagree. That is the indirect method. So those statements are innocent statements, so they will feel comfortable with the statements, so they can very well agree or disagree. But if you ask them directly, they will feel uncomfortable to answer those questions. So we avoid that. We go to an indirect method of giving statements and asking them to agree or disagree with those statements. We will see. And these statements are referred to as items of the construct. That is, the elements are now called items. So the dimension is called a construct. The elements are called items. So that is why we say constructs and items. Instead of dimensions and elements, here we call them constructs and items. Now we will see some examples. Then you can get a better idea about how to understand, how to collect data regarding the hidden variables. A scale will be used, agreement scale, suitable rating, agreeing or rating. We have a Likert scale or itemized rate. We'll be studying about the scales later on. Second half, we'll be studying about the different scales. So these scales may be used for measurement. So this is what we are going to do. We have a dimension which we call a construct. We have elements, and these elements are converted into statements, and we use a scale to measure the statements, measure the agreement to the statements. This is what we are going to see. Let us take an example. Attitude towards e-learning. Supposing now it's a time of after the COVID, we are all used to e-learning. We are also now in an e-learning session. So e-learning has become very popular, but there are different attitude towards e-learning. Some people do not like it, some people like it. So what is the attitude of students or teachers towards e-learning? We want to find out. But this attitude is hidden in the mind of the teacher or the student. So it is not visible. It is latent. It is hidden. And it is broad. The attitude relates to different aspects of e-learning. So this attitude towards e-learning is a broad dimension. It's a dimension. It's broad because this attitude towards e-learning has the attitude towards different aspects of e-learning. Those different aspects of e-learning are the items or the elements, which we are going to convert it into different statements. And those statements will be known as items. For example, items. We'll take the items. First one. Use of IT tools enhances the quality of teaching. Use of IT tools enhances the quality of teaching. So we are simply giving a statement. So we are not asking them any question. We are simply saying use of IT tools enhances the quality of teaching. So we are asking you, do you agree with the statement? Do you agree with the statement? See, so it's an indirect way. We are asking them, do you agree? On a 5-point scale. 5-point scale means highly agree, neutral, disagree, highly disagree. So there's a 5-point scale. So if you are, we saw in the newspaper survey, there's a scale, very good, 5, good means 4, average means 3. See, so a scale is there, number will be, so you'll get a number. The answer will be a number. So it's a measurement scale. So here, see, use of tools enhances the quality of. So through the statement, we are trying to find out the attitude towards e-learning. Supposing a person agrees with this. Supposing, just think of it. A person is agreeing with this. Use of IT tools enhances the quality of teaching. That means he has a positive attitude towards e-learning. See, we are not asking him what is your attitude towards e-learning. See, that is the difference. We are not asking directly, what is your attitude towards e-learning? Instead, we are giving a statement. We are asking him whether he agrees with the statement. And through that, we are understanding his attitude indirectly. If a person agrees with the statement, he has a positive attitude towards e-learning. Supposing a person does not agree, he disagrees. He is giving 1, disagrees. So he disagrees with the statement means he has a negative, he does not have a positive attitude towards e-learning. So this is the method. This is what you have to understand. In your questionnaire, when you come to the stage of preparing the questionnaire, this is what you are going to do. You are going to find out all these hidden variables through statements like this, and with the agreement to statement, we can immediately understand his attitude or perception or uh, whatever is the hidden feelings towards that. Another statement. Face-to-face classroom teaching is an effective method of teaching. Read that sentence. Face-to-face classroom teaching is an effective method of teaching. So, a person who agrees with this, he is not in favor of e-learning. See that? If a person says that face-to-face teaching is an effective method of teaching, he agrees with the statement, that means he is in favor of direct teaching, not e-learning. So his attitude, a person who agrees to the statement, his attitude is negative towards e-learning. Whereas a person who disagrees with the statement, he has a positive attitude towards e-learning. So this is a very tricky way. Even the respondents will not know what we are doing. The respondents will not know what we are doing. We are simply giving some statements. We are asking him whether he agrees or disagrees. So through that, we are indirectly finding out his attitude towards e-learning. So this is the indirect method of finding out data. This method is called construction items. Okay. It is difficult to switch over to an IT-enabled teaching learning process. It's difficult to move over to e-learning. That means if he agrees with that, he has a negative attitude towards e-learning. If he says it is very difficult to move over to this computer type of learning, then that means he has a negative attitude towards. Adoption of IT tools in teaching learning has become a fashion. He says it is only a fashion, it is not really useful, simply a fashion. If he says that, again his negative attitude towards e-learning. Use of IT tools promotes student-centric learning. That is, if he agrees with this, he is in support of e-learning. Okay, so look at this. This is one example. I will give you one or two examples more. This is one example of what we call construct and items. There is a construct and it is subdivided into different items or statements to which the person has to agree. Another example, relation with superior. We have seen dimension. Relation with superior is a dimension of job satisfaction. It has got different elements. Each element is going to be converted into a statement and then we will call it items. Now let us look at the items here. My superior shows a great deal of recognition. See there, guidance, recognition, supervision. Remember, I showed you a previous slide. Guidance is there, recognition is there, supervision is there, and the comfort level with the of the relation, etc. So one statement is regarding recognition. My superior shows a great deal of recognition for a job well done. So if he says agrees with this, that means his relation with the superior is good. Understand that? Second statement. It is regarding guidance. I am satisfied with the guidance received from my superior. Supposing a person agrees with this, his relation with the superior is good. If he disagrees with this, he is not satisfied, then his relation with the superior is not good. So you see, so we are not directly asking him, what is your relation with the superior? Is it good or bad? Then he will feel very uncomfortable. The employee will feel uncomfortable. So instead, we are giving them simple statements and asking them to agree or disagree. I feel that my superior is closely monitoring my work. So he is monitoring my work. I am satisfied. I understand that he is monitoring. So if he agrees, then it represents a good relation with the superior. I am dissatisfied with the leadership that I am getting from my superior. The superior is supposed to give leadership to the employees under him. A person says, I am dissatisfied. So if he agrees with the statement, I am dissatisfied with the leadership. That means his relation with the superior is not good. If he disagrees with the statement, I am dissatisfied. That is a statement. He disagrees with the statement, which means he is satisfied. That means the relation with the superior is good. My relation with the superior is official in nature, which means it is not friendly. It is not at all comfortable. It is very official. So that means if he agrees with the statement, the relation with the superior is not good. So this is how we convert our dimensions and elements into construct and items, and we try to find out the hidden variables, latent variables. Okay. Another example. Let us look at the perceived risk in e-commerce shopping. Perceived risk in e-commerce shopping. Now we are all familiar with e-commerce shopping. All of us are doing e-commerce shopping, but there is some risk there. What is the perception regarding that risk? It's a marketing study. What is the perception regarding the risk in e-commerce shopping? Perception means subjective belief of suffering a loss while shopping online. So I'm shopping online. What is my belief? That I will suffer a loss. Do I believe that I will suffer a loss? Do I believe that I will suffer much loss, or do I believe that I will suffer only a less loss, and so on? So this is taken from an actual study. Actual study. Okay. Perceived risk in e-commerce shopping. So this is the concept. Dimensions. This is a concept. Perceived risk in e-commerce. That is the topic. Concept. It has to be subdivided into dimensions. Let us look at the one is the financial risk, losing money. Product or performance risk. The product may not be good or performance may not be good. Time risk. It may take more time than directly buying from a shop. Psychological risk. You may be under stress. You are given the order, you are waiting, you are under stress. Will it come on time? Will it be good? Will the product be of the same color? Will the product be of the correct size, and so on? So there's a lot of psychological tension. That risk. Privacy risk. You are afraid that because you have done it online, so your personal details, bank details, other details, address, all these things may be shared with by the company with others. So your privacy may be lost. It's called privacy risk. Convenience risk. So it may be inconvenient. Going to a shop and buying is sometimes convenient. The shop is nearby, but this may be inconvenient. So you have to go to the website, you have to use the website. So it takes time. Sometimes the site goes off. So what is the convenience, or is it more convenient? So that is okay. So see here, this is what we studied. Concept subdivided into dimensions. Now each dimension has to be subdivided into elements. So these dimensions will become constructs now. These dimensions will become constructs, and each dimension will have elements. Those elements will be converted into items. I'll take one or two examples. So this is actual study. This was an actual study conducted. Let us take financial risk, for example. So this is a construct. It will be having different aspects, different elements. Those elements are converted into items. Let us look at the items. I'm concerned about providing my payment card details on e-commerce sites, fearing misuse of the same. So a simple statement, that's all. I'm not asking any questions. I am concerned about providing my payment card details on an e-commerce site, fearing misuse of the same. Agree. Do you agree? Highly agree, agree, neutral, disagree, highly disagree. So if you are agreeing with the statement, then there is financial risk. I'm concerned about charging hidden costs in the name of delivery, warranty, etc., in addition to the displayed price of the product. Displayed prices. So there's a price of the product, but I am concerned that this company may charge more in the form of hidden costs like delivery charges, warranty charges, guarantee charges, and so on. Am I concerned? If I agree, there is financial risk. I'm concerned about the technical failure of the e-commerce site while making payment. When you're making the payment, there are some steps there. You have to go to a site, payment site, you have to go to the bank or give the card details. So it takes some time. 2-3 steps are involved. In between, sometimes the site may go off. So am I concerned about the technical failure of the e-commerce website while making the payment? If I am not concerned, then financial risk is less to that extent. Okay, see here. So this is now. Then you may be wondering now, from where do I get these statements? From where do I get this? Say, for example, these dimensions, these different types of risks. So this you can understand, as I said, only by reading the theories, previous studies. So when you are reading the previous studies, when you are reading the theories, you will get all these different dimensions and also the statements regarding each of these studies. You will be able to understand from those theories and experience of people. Previous studies, they would have used all these things. So from different studies, you will be able to get this. So that is the challenging part of it. Here we are studying what is meant by a constructed items. How to prepare those statements, that depends upon your subject. And for that, you have to understand the subject by reading the theory and the previous studies. One more example, product or performance risk is a construct. So you have some elements regarding the product or performance risk. We can convert it into statements like, while shopping online, I feel it very difficult to examine the features and quality. In a shop, I can directly examine the features and quality of the product by looking at it, touching it, and so on. But while shopping online, I can only see the picture of it. So, do you agree with that? I fear that products received might be different from what was shown on the e-commerce website. These are very good statements. It's actually from an actual study, very correctly framed. I feel that the products received might be different from what is shown on the site. If I have such a fear, then there is if I agree with the statement, then there's a product or performance risk. I'm concerned that defective products may be received. I'm worried that defective products may be received. Then I have to go on complain and then go to try to change it and so on. Am I concerned about this? Do you agree with this? Do you have some experience of this? If you had some experience of this, you will agree with this. If you did not have any experience of this, you will not agree with this. So see, you can understand the product performance risk. So people who are doing online shopping, if they had experience of this, they will agree with this. If they did not have experience of this, they will not agree with this. So we can understand what is the risk involved with it. So we can say that if all the people don't agree with these statements, that means there is no product or performance risk while shopping online. So this is the purpose of our study, to find out what is the extent of risk in online shopping. So from the experience of people who are already done online shopping, we are collecting data through the statement. So here you will get the correct data. See, don't worry, you'll get the correct data. Instead of asking direct questions, this is a very good method. Indirect method, you will get the correct data. Okay, I think it's enough. Okay. These are all examples of the same thing. Risk I've taken from the study also. Okay, now we are moving on to the second aspect of our questionnaire preparation, which is the measurement of the variables. I think I'll give you a break just about say what is the time now? It's 11:30. We come back by 11, the 5 minutes or 11:40, 11:28 now. 20:30. So 11:30, 11:40, you can come back. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, 11:40 we'll receive.